I was watching TV in the family room. My son-in-law walked in and switched it off. "Go to your room, old woman. This living room is mine now." My daughter dropped her gaze. I stood up, took my keys, and left without saying a word. The next day, a man in a crisp suit appeared at the front door. He rang the bell. "Welcome to my channel. I share new life stories here every day, and I'd really appreciate it if you hit subscribe and liked my video. Now let's jump back into my story. I'm sure you'll love it if you keep listening till the end." That evening, the remote control clicked, and silence hit the family room like a gunshot. I was sitting in my green velvet armchair, which I had bought with the first Social Security check I got after my husband passed away 15 years ago. Fresh coffee cooled on the end table, and the kitchen smelled of peach cobbler. The television softly murmured the news, and this was my quiet time, when the joints eased and I could simply live, serving no one. The front door slammed, as if a storm had broken into the house. I didn't look. I knew exactly who it was. Derek walked in like he owned the place. Behind him, my daughter Lena carried shopping bags. Her shoulders were slumped, her eyes on the floor, as if apologizing for taking up space. I didn't move. Derek stood right in front of the screen, blocking my view. He snorted, as he always did when he saw me doing nothing. He picked up the remote and pressed the red button. The screen went dark. "To your room, old woman!" he yelled. "I've got the game on. The family room is mine now." The silence became thick. I could hear his short, arrogant breathing, as if his shouting had purchased him a right. Very slowly, I shifted my gaze to Lena. She stood in the kitchen doorway, her knuckles white on the handles of the shopping bags. Our eyes met. I waited for one thing, the simplest thing, for her to say, "Don't you dare talk to my mother like that. This is her house." Lena lowered her head and started adjusting a bag, as if something had shifted inside. That gesture struck harder than any scream. Derek's shout, noise, my daughter's silence, betrayal. A cold clarity washed over me. Not anger, not shame, just a clear, icy sobriety. 35 years at the county recorder's office teaches you one thing. Words don't matter. Documents always do. I rose. My knees clicked dryly. In that silence, the sound was like a formal seal. Derek was already sprawling on my couch, unbuttoning the top of his shirt and grabbing a can of soda without even looking at me. In his world, I had long been just part of the furniture. I walked past him and turned into my room, not to lock myself in or weep, as they probably expected. I opened the bottom drawer of my dresser, pulled out a stiff leather pouch for bank business, and from the bottom, a set of keys and a blue elastic-banded folder. My fingers slid between the rough sheets of paper. A bill of sale, old but valid. A current deed of title. Owner, Celeste M. Everson. The paper was yellowed at the edges. Its power was ironclad. In the mirror, I saw my short gray hair, my glasses on a chain, my linen trousers, and a navy blouse. I looked like the grandma who bakes cookies. That was my main tactic. As long as grandma feeds the wolves, they feel like kings. The minute I closed the lid on the pot, the king's paws turned to putty. I returned to the family room. Derek had already turned on the sports channel and cranked the volume. Lena was clattering dishes, a voluntary silence instead of a stand. I walked towards the front door. My heel clicked on the hardwood floor. Derek turned his head, smirked, and raised his soda can. "Taking a stroll, Celeste?" He sneered. "Don't get lost. At your age—" I didn't answer. I turned the deadbolt. For a second, I looked around the house, the framed print of the Savannah riverfront, the rug I vacuumed every Saturday, my son-in-law's back, my daughter's shadow in the kitchen. I touched the cluster of keys in my pocket. The cold metal was invigorating. I walked out, closing the door quietly but firmly, like setting a period at the end of a sentence. Outside, the air was crisp. I wasn't cold. I exhaled, locked the front gate from the outside, walked to the avenue, and hailed a cab that pulled up. "Where to?" "The Grand Hyatt, downtown." I took out my phone in the car. My fingers trembled slightly, not from fear, but from power. I scrolled through my contacts to a name I hadn't called in ages but knew would answer. Andrew V. Sterling, attorney at law. We used to work near each other, him on property disputes, me on deeds. Celeste, it's nearly 9. What's wrong? I woke up, I said, looking at the city lights. I need your help. I have court tomorrow morning. Why the rush? My mental and property health. I'm listening. I want to evict 2 tenants. But you live with your daughter and son-in-law. Exactly. A pause. He knew me from my signatures on title rejections. Where others saw maybe, I saw absolutely not. What did they do? He yelled, "Old woman, this living room is mine now." My daughter stayed silent. I left, and I won't return until they are gone. I understand. That's moral abuse at least. But you don't need pity. You need the law, right? The house is mine. They've lived here for 4 years without a lease, all at my expense. I need a notice to quit. I am terminating the gratuitous use of the property and demanding they vacate the home. Personal service is necessary. I'll send my junior associate, Roman P. Cruz, first thing tomorrow. He's quiet, professional, sharp in a suit, straight out of the box. He delivers the news clearly. He'll do. We usually give 30 days. That's fine, and include a warning in the text, 24 hours to understand the reality, and upon vacating they will be billed for back rent and a penalty for holding over. Accepted. You are determined. I'm wounded, and a wounded woman who knows her rights is dangerous. Prepare the documents. I'll be at your office by 8. I'll sign before court. Then send Roman to my house. The taxi stopped at the hotel. The doorman threw open the door with more attention than my son-in-law had shown me in 10 years. Can I help with your luggage? I only have my purse, I said quietly, and the dignity I just reclaimed. The room greeted me with the scent of lavender and clean corners. A large TV was opposite the bed. I turned on my favorite channel and set the volume to my liking. I ordered soup and a glass of Cabernet. I ate slowly. My thoughts were at the house, but they were now my thoughts. I knew their morning routine by heart. Derek sleeps late, grouchy. He's always tired. Lena runs around, smoothing his edges. I pictured the door of my house, the intercom button, a confident finger pressing it. This wasn't a call for tea. This was the call of the law. The first gong. I fell asleep quickly and soundly like a person who has taken the wheel. I woke up with the sun, took a shower, the same clothes, but a new posture. I went to Mr. Sterling's office. Signatures, dates, property details. Every stroke of my pen sounded like a final judgment. Roman is heading out. Andrew nodded toward a tall young man with a leather briefcase. 20 minutes and he'll be at your fence. Perfect. I put my bag down and sat in the reception area. I'll wait here. Panic always remembers that it has a mother and a mother-in-law. The coffee from the machine smelled sweet. The clock on the wall whispered tick-tock. Somewhere over there in my family room, a different legal music was beginning. For the first time in a long time, I wasn't running between the stove and others' whims. I was simply waiting. 9:30. My phone vibrated on my knee. The day had begun. Lena was blinking on the screen. I let it ring 3 times, and only then did I swipe my finger across. "Mama, Mama, for heaven's sake!" Her voice broke into a shriek. "There's a man here, Roman, with a document. Derek is screaming. What is happening? Where are you?" I held the receiver away from my ear to avoid his background shouting. "Roman is the attorney's junior," I said calmly. "Ask your husband to lower his voice. Take the notice, read it aloud, and tell Derek, the old woman is unavailable for screaming today." But it says, eviction notice 30 days. Mama, have you lost your mind? Lena, for the first time in years, I am completely sane. Read the paper. Do what it says. The fewer screams, the better. I hit end call. The small red button returned silence to me as easily as flipping a switch on a bedside lamp when I was a child. The office door opened slightly. Andrew V. Sterling peeked over his glasses. "Daughter?" I nodded. "The show has opened on schedule." Roman served the papers. "We have the signatures and the attachment inventory. Now we wait." I settled into the reception chair. The vending machine coffee smelled like caramel. The clock on the wall whispered tick-tock. I looked at the hands, but wasn't thinking of time. I was thinking of how for 4 years I had shrunk myself in my own house to the size of a footstool so as not to disturb their moods, how I ate the burned edges of pie, leaving the center for the king of the living room, how I watched TV shows with headphones so as not to interfere with their conference calls, how I paid triple the utility bill and stayed silent. I opened my purse and pulled out a sheet folded into quarters, a pension statement, the lifetime payout from my banker husband, a couple of stable investment accounts. The figures stood neatly, like soldiers. These figures meant I could live. These figures meant I didn't have to grovel. Next, a